Welcome to Take Two with Freddy. Real talk about second chances, real life, and the power of rewriting your story. I'm Freddy Freundlich, entrepreneur, mentor, and storyteller. And here's the deal. If I didn't walk it, I don't talk it. Each week, we'll spend about 15-20 minutes laughing, reflecting, and hopefully walking away a little more inspired than when we came in. So what's on my mind today? A couple of nights ago, I went to a birthday party for a very close friend of mine. He has just turned 75. And before the party, I was trying to think of what would be a nice gift to give him. So I turned to my buddy ChatGPT for ideas. I wrote in, what's a good gift for a 75-year-old gentleman? And quite frankly, the answers I got back were honestly shocking. I got back answers like a rocking chair, a shawl, a puzzle. Basically, gifts for an old man, someone who is on his last legs. And I have to tell you, my friend is anything but that. He's in great shape. He plays tennis. He walks everywhere. He's active. And he looks fantastic. Chronologically, he may be 75, but energetically, he's much closer to 45. So after seeing these suggestions, I thought, okay, this is one of those times when ChatGPT is not the place to go. And I found him something completely different, something that fits who he is, not what his birth certificate says. But that whole experience got me thinking about something much deeper. The whole essence of this podcast, which is about second chances. You know, age isn't the stage you are. We talk about second chances all the time. And yes, they can happen when you're 20, 30, 40, or yes, 70 or 80. So here's a question. When, my friends, is it too late to start again? I personally am about to turn 65, actually in 1 month. When I was a kid, 65 was basically the beginning of the end. You retired at 65, you slowed down at 65. The whole system assumed you didn't live much longer than 65. But today's a whole nother story. We're living longer, living healthier, and quite frankly, we're living younger. I'm sure you've all heard the line, today's 50 is yesterday's 30, today's 70 is yesterday's 50. Well, folks, that's not just a cute saying. For a lot of people, it's true. But here's the key. It's only true if you choose for it to be true. I know people in their 70s, 80s, even 90s who are vibrant, active, curious. And at the same time, I also know people who are the same age who are simply old. The difference isn't the number, it's the mindset. Some people let age dictate their stage of life. Others, like my buddy, decided that age is just a number, not a limit. Now, let me get back to the birthday party. First of all, they hosted it in their beautiful penthouse looking over the Mediterranean Sea. And the main activity of the evening, besides a lot of good food and beverage, was karaoke. Now, if you had asked me before this party, I would have told you I'm really not a karaoke kind of guy. But now I have to tell you, it was one of the most fun evenings I've had in a long, long time. Everybody sang, everybody laughed, everybody danced. It was incredible. And one of the highlights was a moment in my friend's birthday speech. He said he had listened to an episode of this podcast a couple weeks before, The one where I ended up playing ball with a 5-year-old kid in the park. And he told everyone that as he was listening to that, the message he was receiving was very simple. And I am paraphrasing, but he said, stop worrying about what you sound like. Stop worrying about who's watching and just have fun. And something about that message really landed with all the guests there. Because by the end of the night, almost every single guest was up there singing. No shame, no hesitation, just having a lot of fun. At one point, another friend of mine came over to me and said, Freddie, I wasn't going to sing tonight. No way. But when I saw you get up there, I thought, if he can do it, I can do it. And guys, that made me smile because here's the truth. When you do something a little outside of the box, when you're willing to take a risk, you give other people permission to do the same. And that's where the magic happens. During the party, this same person reminded me of something I'd heard years ago. When you're 20, you care about what everybody thinks. When you're 40, you don't care what anybody thinks. And when you're 60, you realize nobody was thinking about you in the first place. It's funny, but it's so, so true. And if you're listening to this and you're 20 or 30, don't wait until you're 40 or 60 to figure this out. Life gets a lot more fun when you stop living inside other people's opinions. Because here's the reality. People are busy, people are distracted, people are dealing with their own lives, their own fears and insecurities. They're not thinking about you at all, certainly not what you're imagining. The only opinion you really have to live with is your own. Now, let me add something important, really important. I'm not telling you to act like a clown or a buffoon. I'm not telling you to go out and embarrass yourself on purpose. I'm talking about authenticity. I want you to be real. I want you to be who you are without fear, without apology, without the need to fit into somebody else's mold. Today, in the world we live in, and especially in some parts of the Western world, people seem to be getting confused with being authentic and being loud or rude or vulgar. That's not authenticity. That's performance. Real authenticity is quieter, deeper, and being more grounded. It's the courage to be real without needing shock value to get attention. You know, if you've been following this podcast, you've heard me say in many different ways that even though we talk about second chances, there's really no such thing as a second chance. And here's what I mean by this. Life is one long, fluid journey. We're never restarting. We're always continuing, but at the same time, we're evolving, adjusting, and realigning. Think about it like ways. You start out and you put in your destination. Now, things may happen along the way where you're rerouted, or you stop somewhere, or you want to take a detour, and ways will adjust your journey. And sometimes you even decide you want to put in another destination. Well, unless you're going completely back to where you came from, Waze doesn't make you go back, it makes another path for you. And that's what life is about. I started wearing a wristband, and it says on it, life is a journey, not a destination. And that's how I see it. Again, sometimes you'll take a detour, sometimes you will slip backwards, sometimes you'll end up changing the destination completely. But you're always moving because if you're not moving, you know what the other alternative is. And if there's a secret to this whole thing, it's this: be genuine, be proud of who you are, and stop wasting time worrying about what someone else might be thinking. The people who truly love you, your small circle, your real friends and relatives, they're priceless. They're the ones you should be focusing on. If you have even a handful of people who truly care about you, you are wealthy beyond measure. Get on your knees right now and thank your higher power for that blessing. Everybody else, they're doing their best with their own mess, which is in their own minds. You don't need to concern yourself with them. And you know what? The best way to help others, i.e., the rest of your community, the rest of your country, the rest of the world, is to follow this ingredient. By you being your authentic self, it will help everybody else deal with the mess that's going on in their life. And as we wrap up today's episode of Take Two with Freddy, I want to leave you guys with this. Your life isn't measured in birthdays, retirements, or the number on your ID card. It's measured in the moments you allow yourself to be real, the moments that you can and do let go, the moments that you say yes to being joyful, even when your mind tries to talk you out of it. In my humble opinion, your life is about one thing: being in alignment, being authentic. In essence, having fun. So this week, give yourself permission to just show up authentically, to laugh a little louder, try new things, and don't worry. Nobody is watching you as closely as you think. Live your journey and make it one that you can be proud of. So please, guys, if you got anything at all out of this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm Freddy Freundlich, and remember, if I didn't walk it, I don't talk it.